Islam Makhachev be bigger than Khabib when all is said and done? There's no single answer to the question. It's not a simple yes or no, it's deeper and more complex than that. So let's try and break the two Dagestani legends down to understand who will end up as the region's GOAT in 10 years. Khabib signed with the UFC in 2012, hoping to make his name on the biggest stages of them all. His promotional debut was a mixture of woeful striking and elite-level grappling, with the latter helping him secure a win by submission against Kamal Shalorus. A couple of years later, Khabib signed up at the American Kickboxing Academy to learn to strike and fine-tune his wrestling to take his MMA game to the next level. In 2015, his longtime teammate and best friend Islam Makhachev signed with the UFC as well. But while Makhachev racked up wins against bottom-tier competition, Khabib rose to heights of fame, smashing anybody the UFC put in front of him. He wasn't just beating fighters, he was dominating them. Yet his critics complained about a lack of high-level competition on his resume. That narrative changed after the Eagle won the UFC lightweight title in 2018 and then made 3 title defenses against Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje, 3 former champions. But his plans were cut short a win earlier due to the untimely death of his father and mentor. The Dagestani then retired at 29-0, which was still impressive to be fair. Unlike Khabib, Islam failed to keep an unblemished record, as he suffered a heartbreaking knockout loss at the hands of Adriano Martins in only his second fight, but he picked himself up and hasn't lost ever since. His rise to the top wasn't a smooth ride, however. At times, the Dagestani found it hard to bag big fights because nobody wanted to get smashed by him. But he kept on fighting and racking up wins until he got his chance to fight for the vacant lightweight title against Charles Oliveira. Khabib's lobbying indeed helped him in some way, but his 10-fight winning streak was enough on its own to get him a shot at the belt. Up until that point, Dan Hooker was the biggest name on his resume, so naturally, his critics felt he was being gifted a title shot because of his ties with Khabib. They thought Makhachev wasn't ready for a step up in competition. They thought he'd get blown away by Charles Oliveira, but guess what? The exact opposite happened. Makhachev went out there and demolished the Brazilian on the feet, on the mat, in the clinch, both mentally and physically. He beat him everywhere, and within 2 rounds, he became the lightweight champion of the world. In his first title defense, Makhachev battled featherweight champion Volkanovski at UFC 284 in Australia, and he was pushed to his absolute limit. It was the first time he went 5 rounds in his career, and he was almost put away in the 5th round after the Aussie rocked him with a big right hand. Luckily, he had done enough to win by a majority decision. The immediate rematch wasn't even close. Makhachev came out better prepared at UFC 294 and knocked Volkanovski out cold with a brutal head kick in only 3 minutes. Maybe Volkanovski wasn't ready since he had a short notice call-up after Charles Oliveira's withdrawal, but take nothing away from the champ, he showed up. With a win against Charles Oliveira and a couple against the former pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, many argue that Makhachev already has a better resume than Khabib, and it's hard to deny that argument. Makhachev has beaten tougher competition in title fights, and if he goes on to beat Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier as well, the debate will end right there as far as MMA resumes are concerned. The lightweight has historically been the most competitive division in the UFC. 4 former champions, namely Khabib, Frankie Edgar, Benson Henderson, and BJ Penn, have 3 title defenses each. Makhachev currently has 2, and he needs 2 more to solidify his legacy as the greatest lightweight of all time. The more title defenses, the better. Makhachev is only 32 years old, meaning that he still has 2 to 3 prime years left in him. He hasn't taken any significant damage, and the lightweight division is a good mix of strikers and grapplers, whom Makhachev can take out without breaking a sweat. There are levels to this game, and Makhachev's well above everyone else in his weight class. In that case, let's imagine Makhachev has 6 or 7 title defenses by the time he retires. Does that make him the lightweight GOAT? Certainly. But does it make him bigger than Khabib? Considering everything including fighting record, impact on the sport, legacy, money, and stardom, the answer is a big no, and I'll explain exactly why. Makhachev may have a better fighting skill set that's pleasing to the eye, he may end up with tons of title defenses, and he may retire undefeated in title fights. But he will never be as big as Khabib because he's shown vulnerability inside the cage. He has been knocked out cold, and he has been cracked. Now, before you guys think, well, it's MMA and anyone can get hit, that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. If you're as good as Makhachev and can still get cracked, imagine how good you'd have to be to stay undefeated and leave the octagon after each fight without a scratch on your face. Except for 1 or 2 moments where Khabib was clipped, he wasn't tested in his career at all. His grappling, his intensity, his mental strength, and his control are on another level, and even Makhachev knows that for a fact. Once Khabib takes you down, you're not getting up. He'll beat you up into a pulp while giving you a pep talk on why you should give up. In a highly unpredictable sport, nobody was able to land a good combo on Khabib, let alone put a beating on him. So no matter how many titles defenses Makhachev or a future lightweight bags, they won't be as dominant as Khabib. Because while his impact inside the octagon was humongous, his impact outside of it makes his legacy bigger and better than the rest. Khabib was the first Dagestani to enter the UFC guns blazing. He was a pioneer who inspired a generation of Dagestani fighters to join the world's top MMA promotion and dominate the fighting scene. He changed how people see MMA fighters by being super disciplined and respectful. He didn't just win titles, he became a global ambassador for the sport. He broke down cultural barriers and motivated a whole new bunch of fighters to achieve their dreams. It's not just about the numbers with him. It's about how he carried himself and influenced the world of mixed martial arts. Khabib has also been instrumental in representing Muslims and his religion of Islam in the grandest stages of them all, and in the best way possible. In a world where Muslims often face persecution and negative media attention, finding solace in the success of sports heroes who share their faith is crucial, and Khabib is one of those few people to whom nearly 2 billion people can relate. Not only has Khabib taught his followers the importance of a world-class fighting skill set, but he has also outlined the significance of sticking to your roots, respecting your seniors and peers, and being disciplined in every walk of life. I mean, he's followed by 35 million people on Instagram, so his impact as an opinion leader is greater than any other MMA fighter not named Conor McGregor. So to say that Makhachev, or any lightweight on the planet, could be as big or even bigger than Khabib doesn't seem right. Khabib Nurmagomedov is not just an MMA fighter, he's a sports icon who will be remembered for years to come. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We appreciate your ongoing love and support, and we'll catch you in the next one.